These first four, decide whether the ordered pair is a solution. So this is just yes or no. If you had a graph of it, you could just look at the point and see if it laid in a shaded area to say yes or no. But we don't want to make a graph, right?
No.
So what can you do to figure out if this is a solution? Plug them in. Put 2 in for x and 6 in for y. So 2 times 2 squared is 8. Take away 2 is 6. Is 6 greater than or equal to 6?
Yes.
Yes, because it has the equal.
Does it find if it's yes or no?
Yep. 14, put negative 3 in for x and 10 in for y. Negative 3 squared is 9, plus 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. Is 10 less than 9 plus negative 27?
No.
No. Well, right, this is negative. That's no.
It's not
Okay, I'll give you a minute to do 15 and 16, and then we'll do some of the graphs together.
That's your attitude as far as iPhone.
That's so much easier.
What's it off?
Carly,
look at me like this. You
Don't throw the calculators.
Oh my god. Made you hand me on? Thank you, Carly, sweet.
I faked through it, no one again.
Look at the eyes. I don't want to overlook.
didn't realize you were gonna throw it.
Parker, take a day. Parker, what's 2 times negative? No, 2 times 2. Never mind, that's 4. You could take 2 times negative 8.
You silly.
Are you silly?
Oh, there's the one where he's riding the dirt bike.
Yeah, no, I already watched that. He's just really good at riding dirt bike.
Yeah, he is.
What do you say?
You've been saying.
It's still. I saw it on Facebook.
Just looking.
What's his name? Never have a beer.
So funny.
Round 2, huh?
He's the ones wrong too, huh?
It's only one, but I'm not here.
Huh. Are you sure?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Get your butt off me.
I didn't mean to.
Yes, you did.
Okay,
I did.
so when you're graphing, you need to start with negative b over 2a. So b is a 1, so it'd be negative 1. A is a negative 1. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. So the negatives would cancel, you'd get 1/2. So you have to plug 1/2, which it's easier if you make it a decimal, 0.5 in. Now remember, when you square this, it's going to stay negative because the negative is not being squared. And you get 0.25. So, you could just estimate where this is at on the graph. A half over and a 0.25 down. Or to make it a little easier to graph, you could just make each of these a half, so that would be 1 and that'd be 1. So then a half over is right here. And then a 0.25 down would be halfways down because that's a half right there. So, 0 is easy to put in. 0 is close to it. If I put 0 in, you get 0, right?
Oh.
Because that's 0 and that's 0.
Yeah, I remember.
So at 0, 0, and then you gotta flip it over, which would be 1, 0. Then, I would put in 2. You could go this way, but then you gotta deal with negatives. So put 2 in. 2 squared is 4, but there's a negative there. Plus 2 is negative 2. Oops, I put the dot on the wrong side,
That's
sorry.
what I was gonna say.
Half over, fourth up would be right there. So we go over 2 and down 2. Flip it over to here. And then we can draw it in. So remember, this doesn't have the equal, so you gotta make it dotted. And then you either shade the inside or the outside.
Oh, never mind.
It's good.
So what's just shaded, the inside or the outside?
The
Inside.
Inside.
Okay, y is less than, so go to the vertex, less than is down, so you shade the inside.
All of it.
Okay, 24. Negative b over 2a. There is no b, right?
no.
So it's just gonna be 0. So that's your starting point. When I put 0 in there, 0 squared minus 3 is negative 3. So at 0 over 3 down is the vertex. So then you could put in 1. 1 squared minus 3 is negative 2. So at 1 over 2 down, and then you just flip it over to here. Then I could put 2 in. 2 squared is 4, take away 3 is 1. So 2 over, 1 up, and then flip that over. So now you either make a solid or a dotted line.
Solid.
Solid, because it has the equal.
Oh, they don't have to be dotted.
Yep.
I did that too.
I just erase parts of it.
Yeah,
so-
that's fine. Then we have to shade inside or out.
Inside.
Y is greater, so you go to the vertex, greater goes up, which puts you inside it.
Ready to do 25?
So on 25, we start with negative b over 2a. So b is a negative 5,
So it's
so
positive.
negative, negative makes positive. A is a 1, 2 times 1 is 2. So that gives us 5 over 2 is 2.5, 2.5. So then we gotta plug 2.5 in there. You get negative 6.25. So we gotta go 2.5 over and 6.25, 6 1/4 down. So that would be right about there. So 2 easy points would be 1 and 0 because they're close to the dotted line. If I put 1 in, 1 squared take away 5 is negative 4. So at 1 over, 4 down, and then you flip that over, it's 1.5 to the dotted line, so you gotta go 1.5 over, be right there. And then 0. If you put 0 in, you get 0. So 0 is 2.5 away. So you go 2.5 to the other side is right there.
Dotted.
It's solid because it has the equal.
So it's inside.
It's inside. Y is greater than, so here's the vertex, greater is above it, which puts you inside.
I can't believe all insides.
So far, they're all inside.
Not easy.
So on 26, B is a -3, so negative, negative makes 3. A is a -1, 2 times -1 is -2. So you could leave it -3/2, but that's -1.5. 3 divided by 2. So we gotta plug that in. Now remember, when you square this, it's gonna turn positive, but then this turns it right back negative again. And you get 1.25. Okay. So at left 1.5, down 1.25. Be right about there.
Wouldn't be up.
Oh yeah, it's up. Left and up. So this is gonna open down. Now, if I put -1 in here, it's gonna be somewhere in here, so 0 would be a easier one to put in. If I put 0 here, 0 here, it'd be -1. So we flip that over, flip over to there. And if I put 1 in, I would get -1 minus 3 minus 1, -5. Flip that over, it's 2.5 away, so there's a half, 1, 2 would be right there. So this is dotted, because it doesn't have the equal. And once again, it's shaded.
Inside.
Yep, Y is less than. So go to the vertex, less is below. So far they've all been inside.
What?
I'm just speaking English. I said what they're
Where have it, eh?
Okay, 27. B is a 1. A is a 1. So 2 times 1 is 2. So -1/2 is your x. We gotta plug that in there for the x's. $7.75.
That's good.
And this one's gonna open up. So you're gonna wanna make it like that.
You didn't make it like that.
Not you.
I haven't tried it, so now I actually.
But I try hard.
So at left a half and up 7.75, 7 3/4 would be right there. Zero is an easy one. It doesn't tell us a whole lot. This would be 0, that'd be 0, and that'd be 8, which means it's just 0 over 8 up, which is so close, it doesn't help us a whole lot, but then you flip it over there. So then we'd put in 1. 1 squared plus 1 is 2 plus 8 is 10. So 1 over 10 up. And then flip it over. It is dotted because it doesn't have the equal. And finally, it's around it because y is less than. So you go to the vertex, less than is down, which puts you outside of it. There, so you have 4 left.
Hey.
Would it
Thank
be-
you.